tend to have my volume low when I start out. So, how was your day? What's going on? It's Andrea, and I am going to try to do three, not one, not two, but three protein meal prep tonight. And I hope I'll be able to get it all done. So, the first one I'm going to do is the tofu that I'm going to use. I drained it on some paper towel earlier. I rinse and then let it drain. I'm going to try to do the one where in which you break it up yourself. So you use your hand and just break it into pieces. I want to see how this works. If it works better. I want to do a crunchy tofu. So basically I just take a block, rinse. I typically rinse it in salt water. But I've been looking around and I see a lot of people have been just crumbling it, tear it into pieces. So I want to see how it really works. Does it come together as nicely as if I slice it? We will see. I'm just prepping this now. Maybe I did those too big. Okay, I'll try to do the next one a bit smaller. Have you had dinner yet? What did you eat for dinner tonight? And can you tell me where in the world are you watching from? What's happening in your neck of the wood? My family call me a night owl just because I like to do a lot of things at night. So now that I've gotten my tofu crumble, not really a crumble, more like pieces, I'm going to add some spices to this. What type of spices? I'm going to put a bit of onion powder. My onion powder is acting up, so I just put it into a little Ziploc bag so that it will stay clear of any kind of pests. This is ground pimento berries. I love to use it in everything I'm making. Just make my food come alive. I'm using a little ground cumin, mainly because I love the flavor that it brings. And I'm gonna put some salt. I'm using a pink salt. So it's like gonna be like a dry rub. This is some ground roasted mushroom. And I just feel like adding a little bit. I think it will give this dish a kick. So I'm just putting a little bit on it. It gives you that meaty type aroma. So I believe it's going to elevate my crunchy tofu just a bit. And that was some nutritional yeast. I'm going to add a little bit of cardamom. Can you tell I love my spices? Drop in a bit of turmeric. This is turmeric that we make ourselves. Okay, my other pepper grinder broke and I got some new ones today, so we're going to try it out together. Let's see if we can get this open. Hi Dawn, how you doing? What am I cooking up? Question. I'm making crunchy tofu. So I'm just putting it with the spices that I need for it so that it will give me a great flavor. This is not working. Interesting. Did I do something wrong? You guys ever used one of these before? Or is there something that should have been released and I did not? Okay. First time using it, It's a completely different brand. Yes, look at that. Can you imagine? I'm like, why are my peppers not grinding? I picked this up at Winners. If you're in Toronto and you're looking to get one of these, got it at Winners today. It was just what, $16 with tax here in Ontario. So that's not bad. I got the pink salt and the pepper grinder together. So when you use turmeric, you need to activate it. And so that's what I'm wanting to do now. So black pepper is what activates it. That powerful ingredient in your turmeric. It's a good grind. I like it. My daughter dropped the other pepper grinder and it cracked. And then hubby tried to use it and it went some more. I went back to use it and then it just went completely. So I'm like, you know what? I just need to suck it up and buy a new one. So hence the reason I took the plunge today. So I'm just adding some fresh thyme. Thyme is one of those spices that you should not cook without. Thank you all for dropping in. Wow, that's a lot. Did I miss the earlier part of that conversation? Arsenal, is that just like for shock value or did that really happen? Because sometimes we find ourselves in a place where in which we can't empathize with others because we have experienced too much trauma ourselves or too much pain. So we become numb to others when they're enduring their struggles. So I'm literally picking off the leaves off the thyme because I'm not grinding this. I just want the thyme. But yeah, that's heavy stuff. I hope you're in a better place now. 2008 was a long time ago. Yeah, so basically I'm trying to prep 3 different tofu dishes. Not tofu, protein dishes. In one go. I'm trying to do it in less than an hour. So last thing I'm putting in here is a little bit of freshly grated ginger. I don't cook anything without ginger. Honestly, it's the best thing. Did you know you could use your zester just to grate your ginger? Yeah. Sometimes we don't recognize that we have all the tools at our fingertips. So now that I have it all here, I'm just gonna rub it all in so that it will marinate well. And I'm not gonna do this right now. The only thing I need to add to this is some people use cornstarch. A lot of people use cornstarch. I don't. I use flaxseed, ground flaxseed. So I'm gonna ground a bit of flaxseed and add it to this. The flavor is amazing. I think this is gonna be better than the last one I did. Yep, I think so. Because all of that spices gets wrapped up. It got sucked in by the tofu. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like, look, it's all in there. So this is going to be an amazing dish. Now to make sure that I have everything set before I put it in the fridge, I'm going to add the ground flaxseed to it. So you guys are going to hear a bit of noise because I'm going to grind up some flaxseed about now. And you grind flaxseed just before you use it, because if you do it well in advance, then all the nutritional properties will be completely gone. Do you believe in alien? Of course. Not just the legal term for alien, but as a Christian, my Bible tells me that there are other people in other worlds. So, yeah, they're what we would call aliens. Why do you ask? So my flaxseed, fully grounded, and now I just toss a bit in here. And what this does is that when I put it to fry, so I'm gonna fry this. You could bake it, you could air fry it too, but I'm gonna fry this batch. When I do add my other stuff to it, it will just be perfect. So now this is ready, completely ready. See, all the pieces are coated with the flaxseed now. So you could also use, some people use, say, um, cornflakes. Some folks prefer to use cornstarch. I prefer the flaxseed. Just because it's so rich in nutrients, I personally prefer to use it. But if you're doing something like this, you don't have to. I recently did a post. I did a short video showing me making crunchy tofu. I've always loved crunchy tofu, but I decided I want to change the way I make it this time around. I didn't have any maple syrup, so I've used my harissa sauce that I had created recently. Now this is some lentil meatball or burger, it's whichever I want to turn it into, mix that I had from last month. I prepped this back on October 3rd, and I like to, when I prep stuff and put it in the freezer, at least put a note so I know what it is and what, if anything, I need to do. So if you see my note on here, it's telling you that I need to just add some oats and make it a little firmer so it's prepped to cook. The reason why, right now, as you can see, it's in a very soft state. So if I was to try to do it like this, it would just fall apart. It wouldn't hold its form. So I'm gonna add some oats, but I'm also gonna put a little bit more spice in there. I want to get all that I have in this bottle because this was some really good burgers. I remember my family loved it, so I don't want to waste any of it. Just a little bit stuck in the bottom, and I've got it now. So all gone. And that is good. It means I'm wasting nothing. And now I need to add a little oats here. It's out. This already had the complete mix in that it had all the spices, all the ingredients I needed in it. It's just that it was too soft to be complete. So once I've added the oats and make it a little firmer, I will also wrap this and stick it in the fridge for it to chill. Reason being is that once it's chilled, it shapes easily. So see now my burger dough is coming together nicely. I think I want to add a little bit of that roasted mushroom to it as well. That was the only thing I didn't have in it the last time when I made up this batch. It's gonna give me like a hickory type flavor as well as a meaty taste to it. For those of you who like to say, oh, you're not making a meat dish, why do you want it to taste meaty? Over time, we've accustomed to a certain taste. So the simulated flavor is what I'm going for, not the actual meat. Because me personally, meat made me sick. I can't take the scent. So by using something like a roasted mushroom, it helps me to still have a rich experience when I have my meals without compromising with anything that's from the actual animal. I'm going to put a little bit flaxseed in here too. Flaxseed works as a great binder. That's because as moisture hits the flaxseed, the grounded flaxseed, it swells. This is a good. I can smell the cumin in here. It's so nice. Maybe I want to add a little bit more thyme, strip some leaves down, and add it in. This is Lenten dinner patties I'm making right now, Diane. What did you have for dinner today? So this is almost perfect texture now. Just work a little bit more of the oats in it. I prefer to use the oats rather than the oats flour, but sometimes I do use the oats flour, but I make it myself. And oats flour is just grinding the oats so that it's finer. That's all oats flour is. Still slightly a bit too soft. But once it's chilled, it will be the perfect texture. Be sure to watch some of my content. Share if you like. Subscribe if you like. It can help me grow my community, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is a good work now. not too stiff, because it's gonna get harder when it goes in the fridge to chill. So I don't want it to be too stiff. So this is a good texture. You can get it into a bowl, and it doesn't, see, it's going apart, but it's not instant falling apart. So that means once it's chilled, it will be perfect. Okay, I'm going to change my gloves now. I'm going to also wrap this up because that's protein number 2 that is done. And that's in 21 minutes. I think I'm doing good. So there are advantages to prepping things in advance and having them in your freezer. It means that when you come time to prepare your meals, it will take you way less time. Okay. Dish number 2 is now ready. So the next stage for each of my dishes is the final step. So this is what's so cool about doing prep in advance. When you're ready to actually cook up your food now, in an instant, you're ready. One moment, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Grab another pair of gloves here. So what I did just now was complete protein dish number 1, which is my crispy tofu. That's all seasoned and ready to be cooked up now. I did dish number 2, my lentil meatball slash dinner patties. Whichever I feel like making, I will make once I pull that out of the fridge later. Right now I'm going to do protein dish number 3, and you guys get to see this one because I'm basically doing everything from scratch. For those of you who think it's hard to do vegan or vegetarian dishes, nah, it's rather easy. The hardest thing about it is deciding which one you want to make. So what I'm going to do now is the very first vegan burger I made that my family fell in love with, and that's the black bean burger. So I've already put some black beans in. I'm going to go ahead and add some spices in. So like the thyme, dropping some of that in. I just have a bowl to the side that I drop my stuff in so that I don't make a complete mess here. Now, I don't necessarily have to take off the leaves for this. And in fact, I'm going to take like these. I'm just going to pull them off and drop them in because this is a food processor. Once I start it, everything is going to get grinded up. So I don't have to stick to getting just the leaves off. And then again, I could just pull like that, make my life easier, right? I really appreciate you coming on. I know it's nighttime. If you're here earlier, you would know that my family called me the night owl. It seems that I was born at night. Did you know that the time of day you're born, sometimes that affects your productivity? It's like I do everything at night. I'm more comfortable doing things at night. I don't know why that is. My mom says it's because I'm a night baby. So I'm just going to put a little bit of ginger. No, I'm going to take that to dry for a sec. I don't want to lose any of my ginger. If you find that you have issues with your gut, add ginger as one of the spices to your meal prep, and notice the difference. Adding some red sweet peppers. I find of all the sweet pepper, the red gives the most flavor to the burgers, so I prefer to add a red sweet pepper. I've heard it said that not everybody does well with the nightshade vegetable, so if you don't, then do please avoid it. I have a sensitivity to onions, so I'm not going to use a lot, but I want to use a bit. So I'm just taking a small piece and dropping it in here. And I'm praying that it doesn't trigger off anything for me. Again, I'm going to put some turmeric. And because I'm using the turmeric, I'm going to need to put some pepper to activate my powerhouse ingredient in my turmeric. It's interesting how for certain things you need to get the benefit, you need to add something else to it. That's good. Right, I'm gonna add some ground pimento. And I added some ground cumin. Putting a dash of nutmeg. A bit of cardamom. Some garlic powder. I haven't put any salt yet, so I put a little bit, not much. This is my favorite tomato paste to use when I'm making burgers. I find it really gives a rich flavor rather than using ketchup. A lot of people use ketchup in their burgers. I don't. I use tomato paste. If you watch me juicing, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I talked about the pulp from the juice. I'm going to add it here. This is the extra fiber. So when I use my juicer, it doesn't have a fine filter. So what happens is that I get some extra fiber. And I get this because I strained it. And I strain it mainly because my daughter does not like to have pulp in her juice. And this is the rest of the ground flaxseed that I did just now. So again, I've used up my flaxseed within a half an hour time span, so all the nutrients I'll get. I'm using nutritional yeast. I usually use this in my meatloaf. I'm going to put a little bit of it, gluten flour, not much. Take like a handful. And that's because I have flaxseed and I'm going to put some oats. I'm not going to need much of this. I'm going to put a little bit more nutritional yeast. That was the end of that bag. So I'm just going to put a little bit more. Okay, because I have a lot more beans that I'm going to add to this mixture. Did I add everything? Nope. My olive oil. About a tablespoon. Nothing much. But the oil helps the burger to lock in that moisture. This is a new soy sauce I'm trying for the first time. I don't know if I like it. It's called Sanjay. I heard it's good. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm hoping it's not very salty. And then I didn't put in my tomato paste. I'm going to put it in now. This smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. It is amazing how good it smells. Okay, so I've added everything I want to add in here except for the oats. And you notice that everything I've added, you can pronounce the name of. It's not any bicarbonate or some weird sounding thing. It's all natural things that I've used. That's the best advantage to doing your own burgers. You know exactly what goes in it. And you don't have to add all the things that I'm putting in. You can keep it very simple. Well, I realized what I forgot, but I'll drop it in a little bit. So when I'm making my burgers, I don't always want everything to be fully processed. So just now, as you saw, I processed some of the bean. Here's the rest of my bean. It's not processed, it's still whole, and it does have some extra moisture. So the first stage is to rinse, wash it very well. Then to make sure that I release the gas in the peas, I poured some boiling water, let that sit for about 10 minutes, and literally you hear the gas bubbles stop. So when you pour the hot water on, you hear literally like a bunch of, you know, when you see and someone goes deep diving and see that those oxygen bubbles coming up, that's literally what you hear. You can just hear it shh, so as all the gas gets released. But these, which are cooked pretty good, I want some of them to keep their form, and I want some of them to be processed. The contrast with having the whole grain and some slightly processed and some blended out makes for an amazing texture in your burger. So you can just use your spatula and smush it, or you can use a potato masher, which is probably what I should use. That will make this go faster. Just a sec, guys. Okay, it's just typical regular potato masher, and it just helps to crush some of your beans. So the key to doing this is that once you have cooked your beans, you let it cool, then you go ahead and you combine whatever you want to add. So some people use cornmeal, some people use flour. You can also use your hand. I think that is way more effective, works faster. You go from having fully whole beans to some slightly smushed, whereas some are still whole. I don't want them all to be crushed. So it's, if you don't feel like blending like I did and processing it, you don't have to do that either. Just taking this out, and I'm going to combine them together. This is what it looks like. It looks like poop. I'm being honest with you. That's what it looks like. Sure doesn't smell like it, and it definitely won't taste like it. So the texture changes as I add some of the process in. And it's amazing to see it being transformed right before my eyes, underneath my fingers. So let's see if I can get this out. I don't want to get cut, so I'm trying to get out the blade. There we go. So not to lose any of my dough, I just gently take it off the blade because I do not desire to get cut. No way. Not at all. Much less while I'm streaming, right? And just like that, I've cleaned it up. Now you can use a spatula. You don't have to use your hands. It's just because I have the gloves on. So it's just easy for me to scoop it all out. And so that's what I do. Pretty much as good as a spatula could take it out, right? There we go. And guys, I can't stress enough. If you like what you're seeing, please explore the rest of my videos that I have online. Watch some of my content, like it. It will help me to grow my channel more. YouTube will push my videos out to more folks who might enjoy this content. So please just take a moment when you get a chance and do that. And of course, if you like my content, you really love it, then don't hesitate to subscribe. So I'm adding the ground roasted mushroom, and all I did was I washed the mushroom, sliced it up, I roasted it in the oven, and then I ground it out to a powder type. And then I'm adding it in. And because everything in here is cooked, except for the spices that I've added at the end, I can actually taste this, which I plan to do before I add in the oats. Oops, I saw something was falling there. This is a bit heavy, guys. But let's see, can I get this? I'll see if I can get my gloves off and zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. Okay, yes. All right, I'll try to zoom in a bit more. Yeah, there you go. So you see, that's the grounded, roasted mushrooms. And I'm just mixing it in here. What takes the longest for this burger or any of the burgers is cooking. The combination aspect of it goes pretty quickly. So now I do add in my oats. Gonna have to get some more, and I want to taste this, see what it tastes like. See, I'm gonna taste this. Oh my goodness, that taste is amazing. Because all my ingredients are cooked. The oats is the only thing here. And the flour, the fresh spices. What I think it needs is a little, I got a little piece of the roasted mushroom. Oh my goodness. That tastes good. The only thing I don't have in here is spice. I'm going to add some, I usually put a Scotch bonnet or two in it. But I'm going to try a different pepper today. I'm going to use the red chili. I'm using this one. It's a Korean red chili. Not super hot. I'm just putting a handful. It might be too much because it's going to marinate. Ooh, I smell that one. Look like this one is taking a kick. But it's just going to bring up the flavor of the burger. And just like the other two, this is just going to go to chill. I've gone 44 minutes. And my goal was to get this done in less than an hour. I think I'm doing pretty good. I need a little bit more oats. I'm going to use a quick roll oats. So between the flaxseed, the oats, it binds. And I did use a pinch of the gluten flour. It helps to bind the burger together. So it stays together when you shape it because you have those things. You absorb the moisture. I don't typically measure when I'm doing my burgers. I just base on how much bean or peas I want to use. As the burger dough absorbs the oats, the texture changes. I'm done in less than an hour, then I just might move on to make the dough for my Lenten bread. I made a mistake the other day and I did not realize it. I named one of my title pages. I put how to make burgers with lantern or something like that. I'm like, what's going on? What is that? And I realized autocorrect. When was your last experience with autocorrect? You type something and the system just changes it to what it feels like changes, and you did not realize that it made the change just because it's an option. I'm like, if I don't select it, because I clearly typed what I wanted, why is it that AI just changes it automatically to what it feels it should be? And especially because all my content I've been doing is about lentils for some time now. I imagine that it would have seen and known. Be smart enough to know what I was making, right? It's almost complete. And I'm coming up in 47 minutes. Yay. We did good on this one. In less than an hour, I've prepped 3 protein dishes. So just like I did with the first 2, this gets to sit in the fridge and chill until I'm ready for it. And the amazing thing about doing these kind of dishes is that you can prep in advance and finish it up later. There's nothing that says you got to do it all in one go. Yeah, my dough is pretty much set because it's gonna harden when I put it in the fridge. It's gonna get a bit firmer. So if you notice, and I'm gonna show you, let's take out some you can see. If you look at it, you're seeing the actual beans, the black beans. You know, sometimes you get a burger and they say it's red pea, but there's no red pea inside. In this, you're seeing the black beans. They're right there. They're right there. So that's the advantage of processing some and just smushing the rest. You still get all the nutrients, but they have different forms. Some are completely grinded out, some are smushed, and some are whole. I might add just a tad more. The disadvantage to making your dough too tight is that when you need to cook it down, you're gonna have to let it sit at room temperature for about half an hour before you use it. So that's what I've learned with doing burgers, is that you don't want to make the dough too tight. It's best to have it leaning more to the softer side, and that way when you're ready to complete your dish, it's perfection. All right, I think I'm good with this. Do you know you can make meatballs and such just from oats? You just cut up your fresh herbs and spices, and you use some water, a bit of oil, and then you moisturize your mixture. If you want, you could add, say, some ground flaxseed into it. You don't have to. It just enrich the batter, give you a little more nutrients. There we go. And I did all 3 in 50 minutes. I think that was fantastic. I just need to clean around my bowl a bit, wrap it, and refrigerate it. Okay, I be done. So as soon as I'm done in under the hour, I will do as I promised, and I'll show you how to make your lantern bread. Of course, you know I need lentil from scratch. Another little piece. There we go. See? There's no dry spot in it. It's all moist. And this I'll make up tomorrow. Just clearing my work surface, guys. I'll be right back. So I'm going to go ahead and use that in my processor. Thank you for sticking around. Just cleaning it up as I make the transition to the next and final thing I'm going to share with you guys tonight. And that's how to make lentil loaf. If you're diabetic and you want something that won't spike your sugar levels, then a protein bread is the best type of bread to have. And this is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do now. I won't be needing most of these stuff I have here, so I'm just moving them out of the way. I'll use the rest of that in the loaf. Okay, I'm ready. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience, for stopping by and waiting for me to get my stuff together. So I just used this, so I rinsed it out so I could use it again, and now it's good to go. I don't have any assistance tonight. Hubby and daughter are both in their beds, so I be flying solo. I'm gonna need a bit more flaxseed for this dough that I'm making. I'm gonna need some yeast. So I'm just gonna grab that real quick. I'm not gonna activate the yeast tonight, mainly because I'm gonna let the dough sit overnight. Add a bit more flaxseed. Alrighty. I'm gonna grind up the flaxseed, guys. Can do a little bit more. So I'm just gonna show you what the lentils look like before I blend it. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I appreciate you dropping in. So I'm making some lentil bread now. So I literally allow the lentil to soak in some boiling water to, I'm just realizing you guys are not seeing what I'm doing. Let's move this a bit. Small space. Okay, so I think you'll be able to see now. Alright, so I had the lentil soaking for about an hour. Most people leave the lentil overnight. My method is that after I wash the lentils, I pour boiling water on it. And when I put boiling water, I can use it within an hour or two because the lentils are fully expanded. So you can see the lentil is all swollen up. That's because the water, I'm seeing something that's not a lentil in there. And that's the advantage to soaking your lentils. Anything that's foreign will become very obvious. All right, let me just dispose of this water, guys, real quick. I'm making sure I get all my lentils, and I'm gonna blend this. Once I blend it, I'll add the other stuff to it and make my dough. Okay. I just rinsed out the bowl again. Let's shrink this back so you can see better. There we go. So my lentil soaked, ready. I'm just adding it to the processor. I'm gonna blend this in 2 batches. I think it's too much for 1, so I'm gonna do it in 2. What am I gonna blend it with? I'm gonna use some coconut milk. I already cleaned off the lid of my can. And I'm only using this because that's why I don't like using canned stuff. Prefer the fresh. But because it's gonna take a while for me to do the whole shredding, blending, juicing, I'm using the can tonight. So we're just gonna start low and then go up high. So I have processed the lentils. I'm just gonna add it to the bowl and then do the second batch. You can make this finer if you prefer, but I want to have some texture. So this is enough for me. See that? That's a good texture. Okay, so I'm first batch out. I'm going to do the second half using the soaked lentils. Lantern. Soaked lantern, right? That's what AI called my stuff when I typed it up before. Lanterns. I'm just working with that. So I blended with the coconut milk. But this time I'm using the canned one versus the freshly made. Just for convenience tonight. But I know not everybody like coconut milk. You can use an alternative milk. I prefer coconut milk. So you'll find most of the stuff that I make, I use coconut milk whenever a milk is required. Occasionally I'll use something else, but I'd say 99% of the time it will be coconut milk. Now I can start to grind it as is. And then add the coconut milk after. Because the lentils, the grain of the lentils are fully rehydrated, you don't have to add the milk when you're mixing it. You can do it by itself. So I decided to do that just now. And it worked out just fine. I'm just taking out the blade to make it easier for myself as I empty out the processor. You can see the texture is the same as before when I used the milk. It didn't change just because I didn't use the milk this time around. So far, I've gone less than 15 minutes in making this lentil bread. It's easy, super easy to make. The last time I used the red lentil, this time I'm using brown. So far I've tried green, red, and brown lentil to make bread. When I taste this one, I'll let you know if it's the same taste. But I've done that with more than one type of lentils, and they all taste fabulous. So now I'm going to add a little bit more of moisture to it, but I'm also going to add in a little bit of sugar and the yeast before I add the about a tablespoon of yeast, because I'm going to let it sit overnight. And that's my main reason for not activating and adding it too. So this is the remainder, and this is why I don't like the canned stuff. You saw earlier all of the milk jumping out of my can. This is the last I have remaining of the fiber from my milk. It's not milk, my juicing yesterday or the day before. And this, you can smell the beetroot, ginger. I'm just adding it in because I just want people to understand you don't have to throw away the pulp when you juice. This is not the trash that you get from the veggies. It's actually when you make your juice and you strain it and you have this, it can be incorporated into your breads and cakes and cookies and dumplings. So I'm just doing here so you can see it being done in real time. Okay, so now that I've added the yeast, I'm going to put a dash of baking powder, not much. And I'll mix that in as well. Some folks like to put a bit of lemon juice. You would put it now if you're doing that. I don't think we really need the lemon. I love lemon zest and I use it in pretty much everything. But there's not really that big a need for it in your lentil loaf. I'm putting a bit of salt because it's raw lentil I'm using. I'm not using cooked, so no salt was used in it so far. I'm going to put a bit of olive oil because I want to lock in the moisture. I don't want my loaf to be dry. I'm putting some pumpkin seeds. This one is not open. I think I have one that's open. This is the whole psyllium husk. It's a great binder. It's about half a cup, roughly. I'm going to use a black. I could put a little bit of black in it. I usually put it on the outside, but why not put a little bit in my loaf this time around? The black sesame, white sesame. together really good. The majority of the time when I make lentil bread, I make them in a mug. That's because it's easier to control your portions that way. But I want some pumpkin seed in here. You know I have another package that's open. Let me just double check for that real quick, guys. Yeah, I found it. Pumpkin seeds. I'm just adding it in here. And just like that. The only thing I want to add, I'm moving this stuff out of my way. So I want to show you how I put it together. The only thing is if I want to, I don't think I'm going to need much of the oats this time around because I'm adding in my flaxseed. And that's going to work as a great binder. So obviously this is a very rich protein bread. So if you're diabetic or you're concerned about your sugar levels, you're borderline diabetic, then this is the type of bread you should be eating. This is the type of bread you should be making. It's fantastic. So it's super soft. I'm going to put on a glove and work this in because I'm seeing chunks, or should I say clusters of flaxseed like this. See that? So I want to work it in. So if you just joined in, thank you for popping by. Welcome to Twiligh's World. Subscribe, some videos, help my community to grow. I'm making lantern loaf. No, seriously, I'm making lentil loaf. But AI made a autocorrect in one of my thumbnails the other day and changed it from lentil to lantern. So I'm just having a nice little chuckle about that. So this is a good dough. I honestly don't need to add the oats because your dough doesn't need to be firm when you're doing lentil bread. A soft dough is good. But because I habitually add it in, I'm going to put a little bit. Just a little, like a handful. I think that's good. So to this batter, I have pumpkin seeds. I have psyllium husk. You saw me adding the oats just now. I put a dash of the black sesame seed. And I have a dash of the white sesame seed. I put some yeast and a little bit of sugar to activate that yeast. Oh, that scared me for a second. It was my pumpkin seed. And then I did put some salt. I don't think I put any cardamom in, but it's okay if I miss it this time. When it comes to bacon, it depends on the spices that I know and love, and if I want to replicate a previous recipe or not. So this is a non-stick pan. I've never done it in a loaf pan before, but I'm going to do it this time. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit. Ah, it's snowing again. According to my watch, it's snowing again. I'm putting a little bit of oil to coat it, although it's a non-stick pan. Mainly reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to put some black sesame seed in, and so that my black sesame seed will go all around the sides of my loaf pan, I'm just putting the oil. So now, because my hand is here, I'm going to try to use my left hand to open this up. Yep, there we go. It works. Okay. So this gives an amazing crunch. It had so much texture. Can you see my pan? This adds so much texture to my loaf. So every time I do it, I put this in the bottom. It doesn't look like much, but trust me when I say my loaf is gonna come out amazing because of this. So I'm just gonna bunch maybe 4 or 5 balls and put it in the pan itself. Then I'm gonna just smooth it out. So that's number 5. Okay, and just press it down. Nothing fancy, because this soft nature of the lentil, once it's grounded up, you don't have to do much work. So if you notice at the side, it's coming up already. My black sesame is showing up at the side. I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to leave a mark, a dent in the middle, just so that when it rises, it will give me a nice, let me use the spatula. The line in the middle means that when the bread rises, it will crack right down the center. Similar like how you do like when you're making like a lemon loaf or stuff like that. It's the same concept. Okay. And that took me 26 minutes from start to finish here, guys. 26 minutes. That's a bit on the lower side, so I'm just going to put. Okay. I've smoothed it out. So my bread, when it rises, will have a nice smooth finish. And I'm making sure my line remains in the center, so that when it bakes, it will crack right down the center for me. Right? So now, to ensure I have the contrast in my loaf, what am I going to do? I'm going to add a little bit more oil on top. And it is olive oil that I'm using olive oil. And now I'm going to sprinkle the top with the white sesame. So I have black sesame at the bottom, white sesame on top. And if you want to see what this looks like, just check out one of my videos that I have posted about making lentil bread. I think I have, the recent one I did was about making red lentil bread in a mug. And just like that, this one is ready. So what am I going to do with it? I'm just going to let it sit overnight. And I'm going to wrap it with some plastic and set it aside. And in the morning, I'll let it bake. I'm going to do the same by putting some more, but I'm putting them in mugs this time. Just going to wrap this one up. If I wanted to, I could put it to bake right now. But I wanted to proof in the pan rather than setting it original to proof and then shaping it out. I like when it proof. If you don't have the time or the space, you could put this in the fridge overnight, and then in the morning when you wake up, take it out, have it at room temperature for an hour or two, and put it into bake. But this Lenten bread is ready. It's just gonna sit, and in the morning it will have risen. I expect to have a nice curve to it. I will stick it into bake at 375. I'm just going to do a couple mugs this time around. Not a big one-ish. I'll do this one. And I think I'm going to freeze some of the dough because I have enough that I can do that. So now I have 3 mugs. I'm going to do the same process. Olive oil in the bottom of the mugs. Then I'm going to put a bit of black sesame seeds. The black sesame seeds are going in there. And all I do is just to move it around in the bottom so the entire bottom get coated with it. It's so good. I don't think I'll ever make these without putting a black sesame seed in the bottom, just because it's so good. So that's saturated. I'm moving this one around so the same thing will happen. I'm just spreading it over the bottom of the mug. Okay. And now that I have it in the bottom of the mug, each mug has gotten it. They're all having their black sesame seeds. I now go ahead and I put in some of my Lenten bread dough into the mugs. And just like that, nothing extraordinary. I just use the back of my hand and press them down. This was not proof, so just leaving it overnight will be perfect. And add a little bit more into this mug. It's a big one. I just roll my hand in there like that. I'll put a pinch more in this one. I've never ever weighed out when I'm making these, and they always bake and come up perfectly just outside of the cups. You'll see from my videos that I posted recently that making these are super easy. Put a little bit more in this one as well. I like how they're looking. See that? Mug in a cup. Hear me, mug in a cup. Bread in a mug. Oh, I guess my tiredness is showing up now. I have enough to make one more, but I want to save this. Whenever I'm out of bread, I can make an individual serving. So, literally, enough for one more mug. But my finishing touch that I did on the regular loaf, the same thing I'm going to do on this one. So I put a bit of oil at the top, So what happens as it bakes, that oil is going to seep along the side, and it's going to make it easier for me to take out my loaf. And they also ensure that there's extra moisture in my loaves. So the black sesame seed is at the bottom, and I'm topping it now with some white sesame seed. So just sprinkling over the top. No particle way, just making sure it's covering the top. That's all I do. And then it will take on character as it bakes. So just like that. There we go. It's done ready. This stew, be ready. Let's do this. And just like that, I've got 3 mugs in a cup and a loaf that I'm going to allow to sit overnight, and I will bake up in the morning. That's it. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I appreciate it, guys. So appreciate it. Just gonna clean up my mess here and make sure these are in a good spot to proof overnight. It's snowing where I am. How about you? What's happening in your neck of the woods? If you just hop on by, thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, watch my content, help my channel to grow. I just whipped up some lentil loaf from scratch, and I did that in half an hour flat. So if you guys missed it, I think I will put this video out later so you can rewatch it. I started off by making 3 protein preps. So I did crispy tofu prep. I also did my lentil burger dough, and I did a black bean from scratch, and I got through that black bean in under half an hour. So being vegan, prepping vegan, cooking vegan, it's not that hard, it's not that challenging, very easy. You just got to organize yourself. So this is my lentil loaf that I'm leaving overnight to proof. And it's the reason, see, I'm clearing off here. I'm just going to keep in that. My mug in a cup. My bread in a cup. I've got 3 of them. So I'm just going to leave them here overnight. Just going to cover it up and allow the yeast to activate overnight. It's not too warm in my apartment, and it's not too cool either. So by putting the plastic over it, because I don't have a regular proofing station, This works for me. So I'm just putting some parchment paper over it. And I'm going to put a dish towel over it. And now that's set. So come tomorrow morning, this will proof up very good. And I will put my lentil loaves to bake. And that's all they wrote, folks. I'm just going to put away this because this is going to be my reserve whenever I feel like I need another loaf in a mug. This is sufficient to make one for me. So I'm just going to toss it in the freezer. The best thing, guys, about making stuff from scratch is that you know what you put in it. There's no extra additives. There's no enriched this or enriched that. And enriched just means that they take away the natural stuff and they're giving you the synthetic because it has a better shelf life. That's all that means. Enriched means process for profit. So you can decide if you want to try making something that's going to help you to have a richer quality life, live longer, most likely, or if you're just going to continue the process. I like knowing what I'm eating, so for me, it's a no-brainer. I just need a pen to write this up so I can find it easily. Next time I can identify what it is that I put in the freezer. Okay. And typically I write it out before I put it in. But I don't know why tonight I chose to do the opposite. I'm just gonna make sure that I label it. Today's, no, it's not October, it's November. And it's the 10th. And it's my lentil loaf. Lentil bread loaf. So no flour. There's absolutely no flour in this. I have some Sicilian husk, some ground flax seed, pumpkin seed, black and white sesame seed, and some oats, salt, all things that you could name that have not been processed. So you can do the same. Thanks again for stopping by. Love you all. Mwah. Remember, you gotta eat to live, not live to eat. Because the quality of your life is better when you eat to live. Bye, guys. Take care. See you next time.